1 month later, Mark Degler, now 57 years old, drove his black Ford F-150 back up the lane of their large suburban house in McLean, Virginia, near Washington, D.C. He parked the car and got out, sliding his fingers through his greying hair, and opened the back door to take a briefcase out. He slammed the door shut and walked up to the front door, but before he arrived at the door, it was opened from the inside by his 15-year-old daughter, May, who ran out to hug her dad.
Dad!
It's a blow to Mark's stomach.
Oh, wow.
But he took it well.
Hey, Squeak.
He threw his arms, including the suitcase, around his daughter to hug her back.
I missed you.
I missed you too. Let's go inside.
They moved to the front door.
Mom's making dinner. I just set the table.
And your brother?
He said he had to study for his paleontology class. But today was the last day before vacation. I think he's lying. Just playing his old Jurassic World Park operator game again. He has been playing that a lot again ever since the incident last year.
As they entered, they immediately heard Ellie calling from the kitchen.
Mark? Is that you?
Yes, hon, I'm back.
Great.
Mark gave his coat to his daughter, who was practically begging for it, and as he threw off his shoes, she hung it up for him. Mark took the case he took from his car to the living room and dropped it next to the couch, moving on to the kitchen. Seeing him come in, Ellie directly asked him a question.
How was your trip?
Good enough.
Oh?
You know I can't talk about it.
I know. Doesn't mean I have to like it.
This was a ritual that they both disliked but seemed like they were unable to shake. To avoid further confrontation, Ellie sent him off on a task.
Can you go call down Charlie for dinner? He'll be on the table in 5.
Alright, I'll just take a quick shower too.
Sure.
Mark walked up the stairs towards Charlie's bedroom.
Charlie, dinner!
No response. Ellie then heard Mark banging on Charlie's bedroom door.
Charlie! Charlie!
Yeah, heard you the first time.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you too.
Ellie, who had been looking up to where she heard Mark and Charlie fight, looked back towards the oven and turned it off. She then put on gloves to take out a dish, which she took to the dinner table, already set with plates, whilst May helped with the cutlery.
I wish he'd grow up.
They heard the shower turning on the second floor and Charlie's bedroom door going open and shut. Charlie came down the stairs and walked onto the dinner table, silently pulling his chair back and sitting down. He picked up his phone from his pocket and started scrolling, looking cranky.
Everything all right, honey?
Charlie didn't respond.
Charlie, you know what we discussed about phones at the table?
Yep, no phones at the table, Chucky.
Shooting an angry look at May, he turned to address his mother.
Dad just got under the shower.
Well, we're going to eat.
We're not gonna wait for Dad?
He's late, and we're used to eating without your dad. Come on, Charlie. Put your phone away.
May sat down a bit sad. It wasn't the first time she had picked up on the tension between her parents. Charlie just sighed and put his phone on the kitchen counter. Ellie gave each one of them a bit of lasagna from the dish. She looked at Charlie.
Ugh.
And were you able to finish your work, sweetie?
Mom, I'm 18.
That makes you not sweet?
No, he lied. I bet he was playing that old 5th anniversary Jurassic World game.
And what if I was?
Done dividing the food, Ellie sat down to eat.
Dino crazy. You know, I hope they nail the ones that were in charge of the park for the victims they made. Mom always said that park was an accident waiting to happen.
Come on, May.
What? It's true, isn't it?
That may be, but it won't help the victims now.
They should put that daring woman in jail. She confessed mistakes were made. But now they're all over that Japanese scientist dude.
May, Dr. Wu is an American and of Chinese descent. I thought we raised you to think before you spoke.
Well, Tiffany said...
Ah, now there you go. I would think twice about anything that Tiffany says if I were you. Her parents don't exactly set the best example.
Don't you think it's racist? I think that's all it is. Those businessmen come away clean. That woman confessed and she walked away. No charges.
She was just doing a job. They charged Dr. Wu for crimes against humanity, creating a monster with abilities that make no sense for a zoo animal. He's being investigated for alternate motives.
You're just sticking up for that woman because you like her.
That has nothing to do with it.
But it's true, huh?
Come on, guys. Let's just eat.
At that moment, Mark walked in, fresh from the shower in a clean jogging suit.
What's going on, guys? Already eating, I see?
While Mark sat down and added food to his plate so he could eat too, May explained her view.
I was just saying that the Jurassic World trial isn't doing justice. The ones responsible get away clean. Sure, the company needs to pay damages, but that won't stop them from trying again. Everyone that was in charge, that was responsible, they're still going about their daily business, enjoying the heaps of cash they made on all those rich visitors that stayed on Nubla. Dr. Wu is just a patsy, a distraction.
You might be right on that last bit, but Masrani is paying huge sums in damages.
But they're saying that the company is still trying to get things in order on the island. Do you think the island will open to the public again?
I hope so. I really want to see those dinosaurs someday.
You're a moron.
May, language.
Really, Charlie? Your mom is saying it's an accident waiting to happen, and then the accident happening isn't enough for you?
That's what I said.
Charlie fired angry looks at his father and May while he saw them exchanging smiles.
Mark, I appreciate you saying I was right about something, but not against our son like this.
It was that hybrid. They just didn't know how to handle it.
You bought that crap?
Come on, guys. Let's just once eat together in peace.
No, I had it.
Charlie got up, having finished half his plate. He picked his phone back up and immediately started scrolling while he walked off.
Charlie, sit down!
Let him go, Mark. Finish eating so we can go to the Pageant of Peace festivities and see this year's National Christmas tree together before we leave for your parents for the holidays tomorrow. I'll go talk to Charlie. I'm done eating anyway.
And Ellie stood up to go after Charlie.
So happy to be home.
I'm glad you're back, Dad.
Thanks, honey.
Ellie walked up the stairs towards Charlie's bedroom. There were no locks on the door, but Ellie didn't just enter, she knocked gently.
Leave me alone.
Come on, honey. We really need to talk about this.
No, we don't. I need my privacy.
We are about to go to the Pageant of Peace together. Let's go there together in peace.
I no longer want to go.
Please, can I come in? Can we talk about it?
A moment of silence. Then,
All right.
Ellie opened the door and entered. Closing the door behind her softly, she saw Charlie had picked up the console of his PlayStation to continue his Jurassic World Park Operator game. Pausing the game, Charlie wiped away invisible tears from under red eyes, trying to hold it together, but clearly upset. Ellie sat down on his bed, but said nothing yet, waiting for Charlie to start first, which didn't take long.
Why does he always pick her side? If it isn't hard enough to have my own sister against me.
Your father nor your sister are against you. They love you. So do I. A difference of opinion doesn't mean they don't love you.
Do you still love Dad?
The question surprised Ellie. She didn't immediately know how to respond. She took a breath, but nothing came out of her mouth.
Are you and Dad going to separate? Seems like all the parents are separating nowadays.
Whatever happens between your father and me is of no fault to you or May. I do think we may have grown apart over the last few years, but that's fully on us. It doesn't mean that we will get a divorce. The subject has never even come up. We just need to figure some things out.
Not sure if she was right to share these sudden thoughts that came up in her mind with her son, she thought it over. Was it true? Had they grown apart?
I think Dad has changed. I used to have so much fun with him, but now he just seems upset with whatever I think. He never supports me.
We have all changed. That's natural. So, we need to adjust together. Grow together to that next phase in our lives. You're an adult now. You'll go off to college next year. And I know your dad is proud of you for the results you made. He always wanted you to go there. Anyway, we'll all go to your grandparents for the holidays tomorrow. That time out in San Francisco might do you good.
She stood up and walked towards him, her arms open to give him a hug. He opened his arms to receive it from his desk chair. He pressed his head against her chest and she kissed him on the head.
You might be an adult now, but you'll always be my baby.
Mom.
Ellie let him go and smiled back at him.
Well, it's true. I love you, kiddo.
Love you too, Mom.
All right.
They let each other go completely and Ellie brushed through his longish curling hair, which he adjusted back. They smiled at each other and Ellie walked to the door, opening it.
Better go make ready so we can have this evening together.
Okay, I will.
That evening, Friday, December the 23rd, the Degler family went to visit the Pageant of Peace festivities in Washington, D.C. Having parked their car in the car park, they made their way through the crowds towards the National Christmas tree in front of the White House. May and Charlie walking in front, having put aside their differences, both looking forward to this evening. Mark and Ellie walk after them.
A 50-year-old tradition being honored with a 19-foot Douglas fir. You know it came from a tree farm in Wisconsin. The NTCA first provided the White House Christmas tree in '66. Coincidentally, that tree also came from Wisconsin.
Ellie walked next to him, not really listening, something on her mind.
Mark,
Yes?
Charlie asked if we were getting a divorce.
A moment of silence as they continued walking towards the large tree in white lighting.
Are we?
Wow, Mark. Come on. What kind of question is that?
You brought it up. I mean, I feel like you've been pushing me away for some time now. When I came home and walked into the kitchen, there's just this thing between us.
I push you away?
Yeah.
They both walked in silence another moment. Mark looked around for some distraction.
I think I want to go back to work again.
Mark stopped walking and looked directly at her.
You know I never stopped you.
I know you didn't. I stopped myself. But you know, I recently received word that an old mentor of mine has died.
I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences.
He'll be honored during a conference tomorrow. When I first heard about it, we had already planned our vacation.
Mark looked at her, looking at him questioningly.
But you want to go?
Ellie's silence confirmed it for him.
Then you should go. I can go ahead with the kids and you can join us Christmas Day, right?
What will your parents think? And what will our kids think?
Don't worry about my parents. They'll be alright. And we can explain that to Charlie and May. They'll understand, I'm sure. Let's tell them tonight and enjoy the festivities for now. We can talk about you going back to work during the holidays, right?
Ellie nodded. They closed in on the tree and saw Charlie and May waving back at them, excited. She made her decision. Appreciating the support, Ellie hooked her arm into Mark's, which he let go to throw his arm around her waist, pulling her tight, sides together. She smiled at him and let him. They continued walking side to side for a short moment until she moved her arm back to hook it in his for more walking comfort. They joined their kids to go around the National Christmas tree together, a walkway featuring 56 state and territory trees decorated with handmade ornaments surrounding the large national Christmas tree in the centre, which was engulfed in white light. Walking the pathway of peace, as this walkway was called, while Christmas songs were playing all around them, Ellie truly felt at peace. They would enjoy this night together before they would tell the kids that she wouldn't travel with them, but instead would join a day later, so she could attend tomorrow's paleobiology conference and the honoration of her old mentor who had passed away.
The next day, the Degler family prepared to leave for the airport. Mark came out of the house carrying heavy suitcases towards his black Ford F-150 and threw them in the back.
Come on, Charlie, May, get your suitcases over here. We got a plane to catch.
Ellie came out, helping May with her suitcases, while May carried her carry-on.
I don't understand, Mom. How can you miss Christmas Eve with us?
May, stop bothering your mother. We discussed this yesterday. She's going to the conference to pay respect to a mentor. Don't you have a favorite teacher, honey?
Mr. Ricky.
Charlie heard that, walking past.
Oh God, now you've done it, Dad. Gonna be Mr. Ricky the entire vacation.
Are you sure that's a healthy dose of teacher admiration?
I can't help it you're not as popular with the teachers, Chucky. You should do your homework more often.
Oh, come on. I really don't need this. Get off my back, will you?
Mark walked back to Ellie as the kids walked off.
Charlie's gonna fail. Charlie's gonna fail.
Oh, grow up.
I was just joking. But you really can stop talking about the Jurassic World manager lady.
Good luck with those two.
I wouldn't worry. When they're with Grandma and Pa, they'll be kept busy.
Yeah, but you still have a 9.5-hour journey ahead of you with them.
I got my headphones.
Ellie smiles, and she gives him a kiss.
You guys don't have to pretend for us, you know.
We're not pretending.
Charlie got into the car, and while Mark took the bags from Ellie, he whispered to her.
Don't worry about them. You know where I stand, and I hope you know where you stand on us. Anyway, you take the day to give it all some thought where necessary. I'll support you in whatever way possible. If you want to start working, then you should pick it up again.
Thanks.
Mark winked at her and walked to the car, throwing the bags in the back, and he got behind the wheel.
See you tomorrow. Christmas Day. Santa's got your presents in San Francisco, hun.
Again, Ellie smiled.
Have a good trip. See you tomorrow.
Bye, Mom.
Mark honked the horn. Like May, Charlie too waved at her, but with much less enthusiasm. He probably looked into it way more than he should, Ellie thought. This was not about her relationship with Mark. Was it? She shrugged off the thought and made ready for the conference. The taxi would arrive any minute. Later that morning, Ellie's taxi stopped in front of a luxurious hotel in the center of Washington, D.C., also used as a convention center. Ellie paid the cab driver and stepped out of the vehicle. As the cab drove off, Ellie looked up at the building, walking up to the large doors and into a bright and modern 2-floor main hall. Looking for the direction to go to for the presentation she came to visit, she was recognized by a woman in a grayish business dress suit, standing near the reception desk. Ellie thought the woman was about to extend her hand to shake hers, but then she spotted the handheld recording device she held up to Ellie now as she addressed her excitedly.
Hey, you are Dr. Sattler, are you not? It is you, isn't it?
It's Degler now. Has been for nearly 20 years.
Wow, I must say I'm a big fan of your work. Does this mean the findings in Colombia are related to Jurassic World as is being speculated?
Which findings? I'm here to honor my old mentor, Professor Johnson.
Ah, alright. It's probably nothing then. You didn't hear about these rumors?
Honestly, no, I haven't.
In the meantime, Ellie had located the direction to go for the conference room, and she started walking in that direction. The woman followed her, enlightening Ellie on the rumors.
Of course, when they found of those extinct plants in Colombia, everyone immediately thought back towards that thesis of Dr. Wu, about bringing back extinct plants from shortly before the San Diego incident. After that, it quickly became clear he had already done exactly that. Did you see those plants on your visit to Isla Nublar? You must have noticed them. I mean, recreated extinct plants from the dinosaur era on that island? You'd recognize that instantly with your expertise, right? Who's to say these are not just cloned too? Some even say that they are the very same plants that traveled there with escaped animals that must have been on that boat that went missing in 2004, found shipwrecked in Colombia 2 years later.
Really?
It seemed to Ellie these speculations had taken flight, and it started to be quite a lot to take in.
I didn't hear anything about that. I have no idea. I think if animals had escaped from the park in 2004, we would have heard about it by now, don't you think? But I'm just here for the conference. So thank you for asking, but I have no comments. I won't make any statements about the park now.
Ellie showed her invitation to a man checking at the door, and he let her pass. The woman following her showed her badge, and then the man replied to her,
The press entrance is a bit further down the hall, ma'am.
Ellie didn't look back, and smiled, relieved. She looked for her seat, feeling a little uncomfortable. It had been a long time since she was at work. She noticed more people had recognized her, looking at her. Some in doubt it was even really her. Only very few people greeted her. She did recognize a few faces herself, but she felt out of touch with work, and was really just here to listen.
Hey, isn't that...
Yes, I think it is.
I thought she had retired.
She sat down and took out a notebook in front of her. The words of the woman in the lobby kept spinning in her mind, and she wrote down, Jurassic Park. She suddenly doubted if she should have come, and she crossed out the words on her notepad. The room started to get more crowded. More people had taken their seats, and it was almost time. People were talking loudly until the lights were dimmed. Shortly after she had crossed out the words, the last few people sat down. A spotlight went on to put focus on the main stage. Applause and woohooing arose from the people standing up for the main speaker, dressed all in black, stepping up on the stage to announce the presenters.
Thank you.
She recognized the young man, in his early 30s, from some of the covers of magazines she had tried to read, but she had forgotten his name. This never happened in her time. She was almost last to stand up, and to applause felt weird. She felt like she was at a rock concert. The public sat down again when the presenter signaled them to, grinning wildly.
Thank you. I know it's the day before Christmas, but thank you so much. You all took the time to join us here today. As you are all aware, Dr. Richard Johnson, PhD, passed away recently, and we donated 25% of today's ticket sales to his college in Boston, where no doubt many of you have taken a course or two back on the day, or maybe you learned from the books he wrote. So we thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts, as does his family.
A round of applause rose again through the room. As the applause quieted down, the host picked up the conference.
Now, an in memoriam will follow later today, but now it is my pleasure to present to you the two scientists who made an amazing find. They went to the Colombian Amazon, a part of the jungle that had long been left alone due to unrest in the country. But now that peace is declared, these two believed there would be more out there to discover. And discover they did. But I'll let them tell you that. Our surprise to all who came down here today, Tom Sylvester from Stanford University, California, and Bianca Zoe all the way from the University of New England, Armidale, New South Wales, Australia. Ain't that a mouthful? Give them a warm welcome.
And while the host applauded, looking at the crowd, who had also started to applaud yet again, he then looked to his right where Thomas Sylvester and Bianca Zoe got on stage. Bianca first smiling, then Thomas a little anxious. Bianca waved and Tom followed the gesture.
We all know the stories, and some of us probably lived them, where we and scientists are amazed by the sheer number of newly discovered species on separate studies. Thousands of new insect species are discovered each year, dozens of new species of fish, and sometimes even new mammals are still being discovered. Only recently, a newly discovered small frog was reported living right under people's noses in Manipal, India. Species once thought extinct resurfacing unexpectedly. Not talking about Jurassic World's dinosaurs. Yet the fossil record extends with about 50 new dinosaur species being described each year as well. And sometimes it seems that just as fast as we can discover them, other species become extinct at the same time. Earth's biodiversity is simply incredible, and one organism, often overlooked by society, is plants. Of more than 300,000 known species, the IUCN has evaluated only about 12,000, finding that about 65% of those evaluated plant species are threatened with extinction. Although extinction is a natural phenomenon, occurring at a natural background rate of about 1 to 5 species per year, scientists today estimate we're losing species at 1,000 to 10,000 times the background rate, meaning literally dozens going extinct every single day. How wonderful does that make it, to rediscover a species of plant we thought extinct?
A slide showed a picture of green spade-shaped leaves with red vines, and Ellie gasped instantly, recognizing the leaf. The rest of the presentation went fuzzy in her ears for a moment. She took her notepad, and under her crossed-out words, she wrote down, "Sane." Coincidence?
This is a leaf of Serena veriformans, one of the earliest known flowering plants, thought extinct since the Cretaceous period and found deep inside the jungle of the Colombian Amazon. We've stood at the edge of an ancient world, hearing sounds out of ancient times. The deeper we went into the jungle, we noticed the number of this plant intensifying around us. We eventually had to stop moving forward, but we've prepared a next expedition into this very area. We opened a crowdfunding campaign, which you can find here.
On screen, a web page URL was added to the image of the leaf, and Ellie moved her attention back to the stage.
For those interested in helping us on this expedition. Of course, you'll share in the credits of our findings, and you'll get a scoop on the reports that we publish. Feel free to address us in the lobby during the breaks.
And there's more. We believe there may be animal life there too, prehistoric life, thought extinct, maybe even dinosaurs or their descendants.
Birds? People shushed him, clearly not appreciating the joke.
Yes, birds too, previously undiscovered species. But we need more equipment. We already installed camera traps in the area where we found these plants, so we can capture these animals going about their way. The sounds we heard.
After today, we'll be going back for more research, but we can use your support. So, any donations to this crowdfunding campaign will help us out while we're out there.
The rest of the presentation became a burden to Ellie, as she longed to get some time to talk to these scientists. She needed to know more.
Are they going back tomorrow? Is that what she said?
She thought. Time seemed to drag on, and she felt guilty when the in memoriam finally started. What she had finally come in for, though beautiful, she couldn't wait for it to be over, to get out of there and to get more information on these plants. How did those plants get there? Where, exactly? The Amazon wasn't anywhere close to the Colombian coastline. That woman had mentioned a stranded Jurassic World cargo ship. Could that be involved? So many questions. She needed answers. When the time finally arrived for a break, and the time for the information market in the hall, Ellie got up quickly. Looking for Bianca and Thomas, she had found them at a standing table together. She had expected a crowd around them, but for some reason not many people were interested in their story. Did they not take it seriously? Had she overlooked signals? This wasn't a big deal?
Hey, aren't you...
Dr. Sadler. Oh, wow, what an honor. My, you look stunning.
Yeah, it's me. Thanks, I guess.
Thomas! Oh, I'm sorry. He's a bit of a flirt.
Oh, that's alright.
What can we do for you? Did you see our presentation?
Yes. Yes, I did. Which is exactly why I came down here to talk to you. I heard rumors these plants might be by Dr. Wu's creation. You know, the scientist behind InGen's dinosaurs.
Yeah, we heard these rumors too, but nothing of it is true. We made these findings far away from anywhere near those islands. There's no way these are related. Honestly, don't understand why everyone writes it off as such. We do this amazing discovery, and people say they've seen it at Jurassic World.
Calm down, Tom. It's not that bad. So far, we've had a few people who are interested in our reports. We're funded well enough for our return tomorrow and for the first few weeks of our study.
So you're headed back tomorrow?
Yes. Would you like to come with us? See for yourself this has absolutely nothing to do with Jurassic World. It could really help us, too.
Oh. I couldn't possibly.
Oh, of course. But, famous doctor like yourself must have a very busy schedule.
Maybe it completely missed Thomas's attention, but Bianca picked up on how awkward his remark had made Ellie. She gave Thomas a jab in his side, and he shut up.
No, it's not that. It's just, would you have me along on your trip? I wouldn't be in the way?
Oh, no, how could you be? We'd love to have you on our team. But of course, totally understand if you've got some prior engagements. If you'd like, we could even arrange for you to come in later, and we'd have you picked up. But we're not exactly sure how long we're going for this time.
I understand. You just surprised me by your offer. If you'll excuse me, I'll be back in a moment.
As Ellie walked off, Bianca gave Thomas another jab to his side.
Ouch!
Oh, you big baboon. You couldn't help yourself. That's not how you get support on board. Man, sometimes you really surprise me.
In good ways?
No! Ugh!
Ellie stepped outside of the building and walked past the people who were outside smoking. She didn't like the fumes much, and it wasn't what she had in mind when she thought to step out for some fresh air. She looked at the time on her phone. Mark and the kids' plane was still up in the air. She wouldn't be able to reach them. Could she join these scientists and go out on an adventure in the Colombian Amazon? What if she just joined them until the day before New Year's? Just join them for the first week. Would Mark agree to that? The kids wouldn't like it, but they were at their grandparents'. They'd spent time at the zoo and whatnot. The time they would miss her would be over just like that. She found herself looking for excuses. She wanted this. And didn't Mark tell her he'd support her? And that if she wanted to start work again, she should pick it up? She decided, and walked back in to find Bianca and Thomas again.
You're sure you'd want me on your team?
You are more than welcome. Of course, no need to decide right away, but we would definitely love it if you'd come along. Especially with the rumour that the findings related to Jurassic World, you could disprove that and vouch for us having found a true lost world.
Coming from you, no one would doubt it.
You really believe there could be extinct animals too? Dinosaurs?
We do.
You know what? I will join you. I will have to make arrangements, but if you let me know which flight you plan to take tomorrow, I'll try to get tickets.
Oh, really? That's fantastic! And no worries at all. We will arrange the ticket for you.
Her conversation with Mark on the phone later that day didn't completely go exactly as she had hoped.
I know I said you should pick up work if you felt that's what you needed to do, but not during a family Christmas holiday.
I wouldn't do this if this wasn't a special case. I need to do this.
But you can't tell me why?
Now you know how that feels.
You sure it's not just because you don't want to spend time with my parents?
No, Mark. That has nothing to do with it. But now you mention it, I do consider it a bonus. Please explain it to the kids. I have to go. I'll be with you all before New Year's Eve, and we'll go into the new year together. This is something I have to be involved in.
Okay, sure. But stay safe out there. Can you at least give me some kind of information on where you're going?
I will send you my location when I arrive tomorrow afternoon. I do love you, Mark. I'm no rebel. You know that about me.
Oh, but I know that you are.
True. But not about this. I'm not rebelling against you or our family. This is just something I have to do.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, hon.
And they hung up. The next morning, Ellie was on a plane, as expected, but the direction, however, was not what she had imagined the morning before. Bianca and Thomas were unable to get her a seat together with them, but that was alright. On the plane, they did have a chance to discuss a little bit about where they would go and how they would get there. On arrival, they would first get supplies, and some clothes for Ellie to wear in the jungle while in Bogota. They spent almost the entire Christmas day shopping amongst the Spanish Christmas songs. Ellie felt something she hadn't in a long time. Was that alright? Was it bad? She didn't really know. Best to enjoy it while it lasted. Go out and find joy in every day, was something her mentor used to say, with her father trying to comprehend the joy she could find studying dead plants, as he called it. But whatever makes you happy, he would shrug. What made her happy now? Her kids made her happy. Mark made her happy. But right now, being here, unexpectedly in Colombia on Christmas Day, and the atmosphere around her, that was what made her happy today. And that, she decided, it's alright.